If you've been dreaming about a luxury home with jaw-dropping mountain views, a golf course out your back door, and enough space between you and your neighbor that you actually forget they exist, Picacho Hills might be exactly what you've been looking for. But before you start packing up your bags and heading to the west side of Las Cruces, I need to tell you something that most realtors won't say out loud, because this neighborhood is not for everyone. And I'd rather you know before you buy. I'm Elaine, and I've been in Las Cruces for over 30 years, and I've helped people buy and sell. And I want to talk about Picacho Hills because it is one of the places that most people out of the state and most retirees come to. So what is Picacho Hills? First, let me orient you, because Picacho Hills is not one neighborhood. It's actually a collection of subdivisions all clustered around the Picacho Hills Country Club on the far west side of Las Cruces. So you've got old Picacho Hills, you have Fairway Village, you have Coronado Ridge, Butterfield Ridge, and then the newer Picacho Mountain Master Planned community that sits right next to it. Each one has its own feel, its own price point, and its own HOA situation. So when someone says, I want to live in Picacho Hills, the first thing I ask is, which part? Some of those homes are original builds from the 80s, the 90s. Others are brand new custom construction. That mix matters, and I will come back to it, okay? So the views and the why, that is the whole point. I want to start with the thing that makes people fall in love with that area the second they drive in, because you need to see this in person to fully understand it. The views here are unlike anywhere else in Las Cruces. You've got the Organ Mountains to the east, the Mesilla Valley spread out below, the city lights at night that honestly look like something out of a magazine. On a clear day, and we have a lot of clear days here in Las Cruces, you can see all the way to El Paso. I know I showed a house this one time, and that was like why they love their house, their bread and butter. I can see, the Organ Mountains, I've got New Mexico, I've got El Paso, and then you could see even Juarez, which is its own country, guys, Mexico. And granted, El Paso is a border town, but isn't it incredible to say like that's how far you can see, right? So that's the view, honestly, and it's real. And for a lot of buyers, especially people coming from California, where they've paid millions of dollars for a view of their neighbor's fence, this alone can feel like the answer to your prayers. This is also where Las Cruces keeps most of its luxury. If you want a custom-built home on a serious lot, we're talking 1, 2, 5 acres in some sections, Picacho Hills and Picacho Mountain are where you look. The homes themselves are stunning. Southwest architecture done right. You have stucco, clay tile roofs, courtyard entries, floor to ceiling windows designed to frame the mountain views. And a lot of these are one-of-a-kind builds, like nobody cut corners on the ones that were done well. Now, price ranges. The median list price out here is sitting at about $700,000 right now. And you'll roughly run at about $210 the square foot, but the range is wide. You can definitely find some entry-level homes in the 400s. They're typically smaller or older, and they need some updating. On the higher end, luxury homes can push past 1.5 million. But from what I hear from other realtors, guys, that's peanuts out in California. But in Picacho, you can get a new construction home starting at $700,000. Gets you a lot of home, and it gets you quite a bit of land. And if you're eyeing a vacant lot to build on your dream home, they're still available in select areas. And some of those views lots are the last and some of their kind. So you don't have a ton of space to build out there. Let's talk about the HOAs, because this surprises a lot of people, especially folks coming from California communities where HOA fees are basically a second mortgage. Out here, it depends on which section you're in. Some parts of Picacho Hills have no HOA at all, okay? Others run $40 a month. Others run $350 twice a year. And the main Picacho Hills Property Owners Association is actually voluntary. They'll tell you themselves, we are not an HOA. It's more of a community organization focused on keeping the area beautiful and putting on events. And you'll realize that people don't mind throwing money into it because that is luxury. They want to maintain these properties beautiful. Now, if you go into Picacho Mountain, the newer master plan section, you're looking at about $55 a month. Okay, and then the Willows, you have about $105 a month, which is our gated community, and that fee includes front yard maintenance. And for what you're getting on like custom homes and lot sizes, the views, these fees are genuinely low considering other places, right? So here's another number that tends to make California buyers emotional in a good way. Picacho Hills sits outside Las Cruces city limits in an unincorporated Doñana County. That means lower property taxes than you'd pay for a comparable home. New Mexico already has one of the lowest property rates in the country, but here's what it makes it really work in your favor. State only taxes 1/3 of your home's appraised value, not the full value. So look, I want to be clear. I genuinely love Picacho Hills for the right buyer. If you're retiring, if you want peace and quiet, if you want space between you and your neighbors, if you want to wake up every single morning to a view that makes you feel like you want it life, this neighborhood delivers. The country club is a real community anchor. There's trivia nights, there's wine down Wednesdays, there's 4th of July cookouts. It's a social life up there. And Picacho Peak Recreation Area right next door has over 15 miles of trails for hiking and biking. The area consistently scores among the safest in Las Cruces. Low crime, it's well-maintained properties, neighbors who take pride in where they live. And even though there is some separation from one neighbor to the next, people do take care of each other, and I feel like that is super, super important. But here's the part where I can earn my brutally honest realtor title. There are real trade-offs to living out there if you don't know about them before you buy, and you'll feel them in every single day. You are far from everything. I mean that literally. Picacho Hills is about 7 miles from the heart of Las Cruces, and there's essentially one road in and one road out. Picacho Hills Drive. That's it. Every grocery run, every doctor's appointment, every dinner out, you are getting in your car and making that drive. Now, it might not be a big deal if you're coming from a big city where you're already used to driving, but for us, that's kind of a big deal. I live in Sonoma, and for me to get to a restaurant is a 10-minute drive. Unless I'm trying to get to Mesilla, which is across town, we're looking at 20 minutes. But Picacho Hills tends to be a little bit further away from everything else. The local dining situation. You have the Picacho Pub, the patio at the country club, which is lovely. There's Elephant Ranch, which we really do enjoy. And if you're looking for, a brewery, some food, they have good music, great spot to go to. There's Le Rendezvous Cafe and Picacho Peak Brewing Company out there. But if you want a real variety of restaurants, coffee shops, anything resembling good dining, you're heading to Mesilla or back into Las Cruces. Maybe that 15-minute drive is not a big deal to you. But, for us that are used to getting everywhere super fast, Picacho just seems a little bit out there. But if you're used to driving, it might not seem like anything at all. If you're someone who is used to walking to get coffee or values being close to things, this location will frustrate you very fast. Number 2, there's one road in and one road out. And traffic backs up during peak times. And if there's ever an issue on that road, you feel it. You know you're signing up for. So just something to be aware. Now, you don't have a ton of families with kids out there. It's not like you're living out in Metro Verde and that's one way in and one way out. But just so you're aware, especially if you're retired, you do not want to be part of that, right? And number 3, homes sit a little bit longer in the market in that area. The average days in the market in Picacho Hills is about 81 days compared to 50 nationally. And it's just a more patient market. And that's fine when you're buying in. But if you ever need to sell, you should know that luxury homes in an isolated location in a smaller city take time. That's not a crisis, it's just a fact worth knowing. And number 4, the older inventory needs a real look. Some of the original homes from the 80s and the 90s are stunning and well maintained. Others look great in photos and need a serious updating once you're inside. You're looking at an older home in Picacho Hills, get a thorough inspection and budget for renovation. I've seen buyers fall in love with the view and not look closely enough at what's underneath. I don't want that for you. So who is Picacho Hills for? It's for the retiree who has worked their whole life and now wants to live somewhere that feels like a reward, who wants a space, who wants quiet, who doesn't need to be 5 minutes from everything because they've done that in a previous chapter of their life. It's for the remote worker or the person with the pension or the investment income who has the flexibility to not care how far the grocery store is. Like I said, it's not crazy far, but sometimes 15 minutes can feel long to some of us, okay? It's for the buyer who genuinely appreciates custom architecture, big lots, and a view that changes color every single evening at sunset, because man, the sunsets here are beautiful. I've been here most of my life, and trust me, I do not get tired of them. I need to show you guys my sunset because, well, it's not sunset right now, but I need to show you guys, like, when I talk about mountains, and I don't think that this shot's gonna make it any just. But look at how beautiful that is, right? So imagine having an acre with unobstructed views of that. It's incredible. So those are the things that people come here to Las Cruces, move to Picacho for. It's not for the person who needs walkability, easy access to dining, or a quick commute, or a neighborhood with more city energy. I'd rather tell you that now than you have me call 6 months later after we're closing wondering why nobody mentioned the drive into town. So if you're considering Picacho Hills or anywhere in Las Cruces, I'd love to help you figure out if it's actually the right fit for you. What I do for a lot of my people that reach out to me, like, I don't care spending the time driving. Like, I will send you videos of the drive to a certain location. I'll show you the neighborhood. I'll show you the houses. It's important to me that you come to Las Cruces with eyes wide open and that you understand that this is a different kind of life. And so I will take the time and I will show you and I will give you the pros and cons, and I'll try to be as honest as I can about it or what I know. If you think that this is for you or you have any questions, just drop a comment below. You can also send me an email. You can send me a text. I do free consultations for all of my out-of-state buyers. I'll tell you exactly what I tell a family member because, like I said, I want you to love Las Cruces as much as I do. See you on the next one, guys.